No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page at Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And speaking of the bake part, I need a bong hit. If you need a bong hit too, simply follow me and do exactly as you see. I've been farming all day, hence the hat. I am totally in farmer mode right now. And I have hours and hours of work to do still tonight. So a farmer's work is never done. Thank God for cannabis. Really and truly. If there is a God, thank God for cannabis. Where would we be without it? I'll never know. I will never know. Ready? Here we go. Excuse me while I whip this out. I don't have any lights on. I'm feeling much better now. All right, so I should go and turn the lights on. Otherwise, you'll never see the bong hits. That was a good one. All right, so I only have a few videos for you tonight. Like I said, I've been farming all day, and I only had the chance to have a little bite to eat and get a cup of tea ready, and I didn't even turn on the lights yet. So I got a couple videos cut for you. One of them is Sanjay Gupta. I'm sorry, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who I can tell you doesn't have your best interest at heart, because I know for a fact, well, as I've said before, he had to apologize. I used to call him Pill Shill Dr. Gupta because he would push these pills, this pill, that pill, but cannabis had no medicinal qualities for like at least a decade, right? And then he had to come out on CNN and apologize to the thousands and thousands and millions of people that he has misled. Okay. That being said, Obama also asked him to be asked him to be the Surgeon General. He was the first person he went to be the Surgeon General. Now, if he had your best interest at heart, if he really cared about America, if he really cared about the public, wouldn't he take this role as the top doctor in the country to be able to advise people on whatever? He did not. He said, no, I make more money at CNN, so I am not interested. So again, I have a clip from Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who said that there has never been a known transmission of COVID-19 outdoors. Outdoors has never been known. So we've been wearing masks, not me, we've been wearing masks outdoors for no reason, according to Sanjay Gupta. I will play that clip for you momentarily. I think it's important to see. Again, being not part of the herd, as we were discussing yesterday, I walk every single day out in my neighborhood for an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? And me and the dogs walk. And I have never once, not one time, worn a mask outside. I've never felt, it doesn't make any sense to me. Honestly, I'm more concerned about the mask doing something like getting dirty or picking up microbes from me, me breathing on it, being all the time, So I have never, the only time I ever wear a mask is when we go somewhere and it's inside. Go to the grocery store. We've been to the casino a couple times. I had to wear a mask. Craig loves the casino, and he gets free points there, so we get to eat for free from time to time. They got a nice steakhouse there, I can tell you that for sure. Hello, caller.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Manny.
Hey, so I'm just laying in bed watching your show on my phone. So how you been?
Okay, I'm in farming mode. I'm very busy.
That's good. That's actually pretty good, but keep yourself busy. We need to keep ourselves busy right now.
Yeah,
especially nowadays.
Generally I'm busy, but I'm very busy now. Go ahead.
See, it's one of the things that I noticed. All these kids that are doing destruction, the Antifa, the Proud Boys and stuff, I think they're kids who have nothing to do and they don't have a purpose in life. So they find a purpose by protesting, quote-unquote, anti-fascist people or fascist people, and they try to bring the good in the world. It's because they don't have a purpose. They don't have a job. They don't have anything to do that actually fulfills it. So this is what I'm saying. It's good that you are farming. Don't take it the wrong way, though. It's just, what I'm trying to say is, like, people don't have anything to do and don't have a purpose. You have a purpose. You wanna do a farming.
I wish I had a porpoise. That would be awesome. I've always wanted to have a porpoise.
A purpose.
Porpoise.
Yeah, you can even start your own business, make your own shop, legal shop, to sell the mug spot or the mug shop.
I'm not. I don't. Look, I'm really not money oriented, and in order to run a business, you have to be very money oriented, which means because you have to pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really not money oriented. I don't think I'd be a good business owner. If I had somebody who knew what they were doing and wanted to take care of all that stuff, but I have no interest in spending my time figuring out bills and crap like that.
Yeah, it gets annoying though, because it's not just having fun. It's doing the accounting, talking to lawyers, talking to accounting professionals,
paying your taxes.
You doing your bills.
I don't want to pay my taxes. Fuck that.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing though. You will pay. Obviously, you will pay state taxes, Department of Revenue.
And not only that, the state's going to be up your ass, going, "Where's our tax money? Where's our tax money?" I've seen it happen many times. Yeah.
That's the least of your problem. You should worry more about the federal government. how did you want to pay the federal taxes on?
I'm not. I just told you. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the government. They can go to hell. I don't give. They don't get my money to go fucking create wars of choice based on lies and drop bombs on little babies. I'm not about to give that money, give that government one fucking penny. You can count on it.
Speaking of wars, what do you think about what's going on in Israel?
What about it?
What do you think?
I was mentioning last night that I have on my backpack since 2007. I have a flag of from Lebanon, right? And it's called the cedar. And I always tell people I like to put it in their right in their face. I said I don't know if you can read this or not, but it says "fuck Israel." So in case you're wondering, that's my standpoint.
But do you know that you actually hate Israel, you hate the Jewish?
That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. That is a bunch of bullshit. That is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? I have no problem with any people, including Israelis. I hate the fucking government there just like I hate the fucking government here.
Well, according to the mainstream media and according to the wisdom, the Jews are the good people. The Palestinians are the baddies.
The Palestinians are good people. And look, like I said, I don't see people as bad people. They're misled by rotten governments, rotting from the fucking head, just corrupt as possible, should be taken out and put in prison for the rest of their lives. As I say again and again about our government, meaning that wholeheartedly with every fiber of my being, okay? These people are disgusting. And they need to go away forever. We need to make examples of them. Serious. Every single person in Congress, every person in the White House for the last 20 years, they need to go to prison, and it needs to happen now.
Okay, let me ask you something though. On your own personal opinion, how do we solve the Palestinian-Israel conflict?
How do we what?
Solve the Israel-Palestine conflict.
It's first you have to tell Israel that they're out of line, and no one does that. You have to tell Israel that they're not only committing war crimes, they're committing crimes against humanity, and if they don't stop, they will be held accountable. Otherwise, you're not going to change it at all. That's step one.
Okay, then what is step two?
Step two is getting people to talk. Okay, they're not talking. They haven't talked for a long time. Really getting the Israeli government to acknowledge not only do they have the right to defend themselves, but the Palestinians do too. Because right now that's not the way it is. It's poor victim Israel. They have the right to defend themselves. Oh my God. Fuck Israel. Did I not make that clear yet?
Okay. Let me tell you what I think should happen.
Okay.
First of all, Israel has the right on that.
The what now? Israel has the what now?
The right to that land. There's the rightful owners of that land. Okay.
To do what? The right to what, Manny? The right to what?
Owners.
Okay, stop talking. Stop talking. The right to what?
The rightful owners.
Rightful owners of that piece of land. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And that is because?
Because God told them to do so.
Fuck God. That's a bunch of bullshit, Manny. That's a bunch of bullshit. And if you're talking about the God in the Bible, that's a bunch of bullshit too. I don't know. Which God is it you're talking about, Manny?
You know that one in the flaming bush?
The what? Oh, that one? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah. Like 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, told him that Israel is the land.
Uh-huh.
They're the rightful heirs of the land of Israel. Anyway.
And was he Jewish?
I don't know. I think he was Egyptian.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so that since they're the rightful owners, they have they are by divine intervention, the owners of Gaza, of the West Bank.
This is a bunch
So
of
what we
bullshit. So you're saying because some magical being 3,000 fucking years ago said Israel owns that piece of property, or the Jewish people own that piece of property, 3,000 years later, okay, so what about the fucking Native Americans in America? Do they not own this piece of property? Should they not commit war on the American people, the white people who came and stole it from them?
Actually, I have a different story about Indian Americans, but I'll tell you that in a different.
No, look, you said 3,000 years ago, this guy smoking some fucking fiery bush, says, hey, God says this, man. And we're supposed to believe that 3,000 years later.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And that's the way we should look at the Palestinian people having no right to live in this place where they lived way longer than there was ever an Israel there.
Let me finish. So, okay. So since they're the rightful owners, they have to.
No, I'm not going to let you say that. Okay? If you want to say God says, since God, you got to put God in air quote, says that they're the, blah, 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 which is stupid statement, so you know. If you think that God is the one who says who owns property, then you should not be an accountant, Manny.
Hey, we all have different beliefs, Marx.
What?
Anyway, let me continue. Okay, back to the point. Since they are the rightful owners of gas in the West Bank.
No, they are not.
Let me finish. I'm trying to make a talk for this. Okay, so what's going to happen to the Palestinians? Okay, since they're not the owners, they're squatters. They're squatting their land. So we need to find a way to, I don't know, send them to Lebanon, send them to Egypt, send them to Saudi Arabia, so they can take care of
We
it.
don't have to worry about that because Israel's gonna fucking bulldoze them into the fucking ocean. Because they're the rightful owner, Manny.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but we need to fight. We have to treat it humanly, though. So the human way to move the Palestinians.
Oh, yes, because the Israeli government has been so human, so humane when it comes to the Palestinian people. We all know that. All they're doing is defending themselves. They're not trying to bulldoze them into the fucking ocean and out of existence. That's just a conspiracy theory. They're wonderful people. Not anyways, that's the facts, Manny. Okay? They have done nothing. They fucking poison wells and bulldoze centuries-old orchards that have fed communities for hundreds of years. Okay? That's who the Israeli government is. And they got no problem with it, and they'll do it again. And they fucking poison wells in the goddamn desert, Manny.
Max, calm down. I'm just trying to tell you a logic that I think is going to work for everyone.
What?
Okay, so, anyway, let me finish. So the Palestinians, since they're not supposed to live there, we need to talk to Lebanon, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran.
Fuck you, Manny. Okay, the Palestinians were there before there was ever an Israel. So stop saying they're not supposed to live there. Okay? And last night, we were talking to a gentleman named James, who's fucking very intelligent, and he said that, all these people had to go through this place, Alexander the Great, all these, great Napoleon, all these people, and it was Palestine when they went through there, okay? Now, all of a sudden, it's supposed to be fucking Israel, because God said so 3,000 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, they have the right to be there and have been there for a hell of a long time. And to say anything else is total propaganda, and I got a major problem with that.
Well, you know why we're trying to make all of this happen, Max? There's an end game for all of this, Max.
Uh-huh, I know.
The end game for all of this is so we can build a third palace in Israel. So the second coming of the chosen one can come. so the something will can come back again. Because Jesus Christ was not the Messiah. He was just a regular dude.
Manny, do you just call to trigger me and troll me, or what the fuck is going on with you, dude?
No, I tell you the fact that it's in the Bible.
Uh-huh.
The Bible, the Jews believe that Jesus Christ was just a regular dude. And the whole reason why they want to expand Israel is because they want to build some sort of temple in Israel so they can actually wait for the second coming of the Messiah. Because they don't believe Jesus Christ is the actual Messiah. They actually think Jesus Christ was just a fake, was a regular guy. And that's an actual fact. If you look at the beliefs of the Jewish people, that's what they actually believe. Christians believe Jesus was the second coming of Christ. Jewish don't believe that. They just think he's just a regular dude. He's just a fake Messiah, a false prophet. And the whole
like Netanyahu. Like Netanyahu.
Yeah. So they actually believe this, and this is true. They actually believe that once they expand to the greater Israel, eventually they want to build a temple over there, and then they want to wait for the second coming of the Messiah, which is going to be the true Messiah, not Jesus Christ. That's what they believe.
Okay. Good. That's exactly what we need, is a new Messiah.
All right, Mark.
Uh-huh.
I gotta go, Mark, because I'm...
Can't stop laughing? Can't stop laughing? Good hit, Manny? Was that a good hit? First time we've ever heard him laugh. What are you smoking, Manny? That sounds pretty good. First time we ever heard him laugh.
I'm gonna go, Bucks.
Okay, Manny. Call back soon. Glad to hear you're having a good day. He hung up. I don't think we've ever heard him laugh before. That's good. I try to do a little bit of that for everybody. I think I got to him pretty good. All right, so again, Sanjay Gupta talking about coming up. Sanjay Gupta talking about their no documented case of people contracting the COVID virus, the plague, from outdoor contact, which is really fucked up because I see these kids out and playing and stuff now, and they're all wearing masks. I saw a soccer field full of people, and not people, little kids, not little kids, but high school kids, and they all have masks on, and and now they're saying, oh, well, there's never been a known case of outdoor contraction of the COVID virus. What?
Hello.
Hello.
I put Sanjay Gupta on my salad quite often, man. It's really good with a little guacamole. I love Sanjay Gupta. It's good on rice sometimes, and it makes a refreshing beverage. What the fuck was up with Manny, the brilliant scholar, Manny Bopanny? Was he smoking opium or what? I think he smoked the Bible. That's what happened to him. He smoked too much Bible.
He was losing it there at the end.
Yeah, I heard that. You're right. I never heard him laugh before.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
But, yeah, gets me a little bit worked up when people actually think they know shit. The Bible told me so.
I can't allow him to say stuff like, that land belongs to Israel, or, that the Palestinians don't belong there. Fuck. Have no right to be there. It's like, I just don't see any empathy at all. It's unfortunate.
Well, one way he could understand is like, okay, well, the Aztecs and the Maya, their kingdoms extended all the way up into Northern California and Arizona and Texas and everywhere. And so now this land is called America or California or Texas. And if we were to act like the Israelis, we would say, you can't live here because you're not one of us. And we would drop bombs on their villages and deport them all to Mexico and build a big wall.
Fuck them all to death.
Yeah, fuck them all to death. I mean, it's like you got to have a little heart for your fellow human beings. And when you see, if you don't know something, shut your fucking mouth. Don't tell me about God and the Bible and Thor and Zeus and Bozo the Clown and Yahweh and all the bullshit, or who was, Jesus was the Jew. All the bullshit. Jesus was a Palestinian, That's where he lived. He lived in Palestine. So, fuck all the, sometimes they called him rabbi, but I don't care about anything that happened 2,000 years ago. It's an easy situation.
It's easy to manipulate what happened 2,000 years ago, too, because none of us really know what happened 2,000 years ago. We can kind of guess, we can see some of the relics from 2,000 years ago, but we don't really know what was going on.
Was it okay when the French conquered Algeria? Or was that the French? That was the Italians that conquered Algeria. Or the French conquered a different North African country. How about the British when they conquered India and they enslaved and ripped off all the resources from India for a couple centuries? Was that okay? Well, this is the exact same thing. It's like this is colonialism.
It's not, because India is still there and China is still there and Israel is going to fucking bulldoze Gaza into the ocean.
Because that's what happens when you don't have equal sides. If you had equal sides, they could fight it out. But one side is the aggressor, the other side is the victim, and you've got to admire the tenacity of a people that spent the last 75 years trying to hang on to whatever bits of land they can. In 1948 or 47, 55% of Palestine was given to 30% of the people. Those people were called Jews. And the other 45% went to about 70% of the people, which were called Arabs or Palestinians. Now, Palestinians have control of about 10% of the land. And that land is all divided up into villages with walls in between, and you can't get from one village to another. You got to go through checkpoints. The Palestinians have been robbed and robbed and robbed and subjugated and killed. And right now there's gangs of Israeli Jewish citizens roaming the cities, beating up people. They even beat up their own Jews if they think they're Arabs. They've already beat up Jewish people thinking they were Arabs. I think you were right and I was wrong, Mike, about this not fizzling out. It looks like it's a soft intifada right now, and I don't think it's going to let up. But
did you hear him say that rockets were launched from Lebanon today?
Yeah, I saw that, but I heard it, but I don't know anything about it. No details came to me except for that. Some rockets were launched, I guess, by Hezbollah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I guess that means Israel's going to fucking bomb Lebanon now.
Yeah,
so,
I think that they're not, but they're like acting threatening, you know what I mean? Now we have a reason to, so don't fuck with us. You know what I mean?
You've heard the term Zio-Nazi, right?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think that.
Well,
Neo-Nazi, but I don't think I've heard Zio-Nazi.
Oh, it's been around for a decade. It's Zio-Nazi. It's a Zionist Nazi because for the longest time, at least 10 years that I know of, people have been comparing the behavior of the Zionists to the behavior of the Nazis. In other words, the Jews were the victims of the Nazis, along with Romas and Gypsies and homosexuals and other groups. They were the victims of the Nazis, and now, 75 years later, they are behaving like Nazis. So a lot of people call them Zionists.
I mean, there's, the people in Israel are behaving. I mean, again, I don't even want to put it in the people in Israel. I just, that's only a fraction of the Jewish people, I'm sure.
It's about half.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. So, again, I judge everyone on a one-to-one basis. I'm not. It's just like, but I don't understand why parents would put their children into harm's way by moving into Israel or staying in Israel, where they know that their children could die at any time. What kind of a parent would do that? I don't understand that for a second.
Obviously, there's no real measurable threat in the larger cities, obviously. I mean, you have...
Right, but they all act like it. It's like the biggest troupe of crisis actors on the planet.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is they all act like this horrible thing is about to happen, and the kids don't really know, I don't think. Maybe they tell them, yeah, don't worry, it's going to be okay. But you don't know that means that it's not a real thing.
You're fully indoctrinated from the age of 2. You'll be picking up a rifle, if you live in Israel, boy or girl, from the age of 3. You go into the Army mandatory at the age of 18. You get thrown in jail if you don't go in, and you're a social outcast if you're a leftist or a Palestinian sympathizer.
Well,
so
I think military should be mandatory here also.
What's your rationale for that?
I think that if everybody's kids were being sent off to fake wars of choice based on lies, that there'd be a whole lot more people standing up against war, as opposed to all these fucking, "Ooh, let's go kick their ass, Team America, fuck yeah!" That would not exist if all of their children had to fucking go and do that.
Well, some famous guy said, war is just politics by other means. So this is what we're seeing right now is, over the last 75 years, this group of people called Zionists who declared themselves a country 75 years ago, and the partition plan said, we'll give you guys 55% of the land. Now they got 90% of the land, and they've got everybody divided and conquered, and Gaza is the largest open-air prison in the history of mankind. There's never been 2 million people that were blocked off on all sides, including the sea. You can't even go out past a mile or so without getting gunboats shooting you,
Yeah, I heard that they cut off all their fishing also with this fucking new shit. They're not allowed to fish.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
They pump sewage into Gaza. They pollute their water. We haven't seen, as far as I can tell, and I'm watching, we haven't seen any really exotic weapons yet, like flèche bombs. I've seen a little bit of the stuff that falls out of the sky and burns you. What's that called?
Phosphorus?
Yeah.
That's illegal. That's a war crime.
Well, they've used it about 30,000 times already, but...
Well, it's a war crime. So, again, these people need to be fucking... they need to fucking go to prison. They need to be made examples of. It's not okay, and why are no other countries speaking out against it? Go ahead.
Why are ignorant people speaking out on the side of Israel? Because they've been indoctrinated to believe that Israel is a democracy. How can you have a democracy when half your population has insufficient human rights? And, you think Palestinians vote? They don't vote. I mean, it's 2 different populations. One has full rights, and the other one, maybe we might give you some if we're not killing you or beating you up or breaking into your homes or stealing your land, again. But it's not a joke that the people in the West Bank, 2.5 million people in the West Bank, are all divided from each other, and they get all kinds of crimes committed against them, including murder. And it's not a joke that 2 million in Gaza are in the largest open-air prison in the history of mankind. So fuck you, Manny. I don't want to hear your fucking ignorant mouth speak a bunch of bullshit against good, decent human beings called Palestinians. Fuck you, Manny. Shut your fucking mouth.
Well, so you know, it's being considered that Manny may be a troll and that he's just trying to trigger me every time he calls. So don't let him trigger you too. That's my job.
I don't know. I think he's legitimately moronic. I think he's a legitimate idiot.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just saying that's the discussion that's being had back of the scenes.
Well, anyways, so you know, Netanyahu came out today saying, "Well, we're going to have an incursion, a ground incursion into Gaza." This is after Hamas said, "Okay, we'll stop firing rockets. Let's call for a ceasefire," and then Netanyahu calls for a ground invasion.
Yeah.
After Hamas says, "Okay, let's have a ceasefire," Netanyahu calls for a ground invasion. And the population is going crazy in Israel. The Jewish population that's really right-wing and bigoted and, you know, just they hate Palestinians. They're going around burning Palestinian businesses and beating up on drivers and beating up on people. There's a death toll on the ground just from that.
Yeah, they're
you know?
shooting. I've seen like they had automatic weapons. They're shooting people. They tried to
Right.
they tried to lynch somebody last night.
Right. Yeah. So it's not pretty. It's not the government doing that. That's
Yeah.
the population. So it's very dangerous to be a dissident in Israel. And God bless those people that are saying, "Hey, okay, you know, I realize that my government is an apartheid criminal government." I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
You know,
You've got
any other country that this was happening to, the U.S., the British, the French, they'd all be rushing in to give them supplies. If they didn't have airports to land on, they'd be parachuting supplies in so that
Right.
people weren't starving to death and needed medical supplies and all these other things. But fuck Gaza, fuck the Palestinians. For what reason, Biden? For what reason? I don't even know what the person in charge of France is called anymore. I don't know what that blonde-haired twat in fucking Great Britain is called either.
Well, Macron and doofus overlord, blonde-haired, dumb fuck in England. But
Yeah.
Macron still runs France. But, yeah, man, the entire
I'm just saying,
population
if that was any other country, you know, what the fuck is wrong with those people? If it, like I said, if it's any other country, they'd be rushing to their aid. But they're, you know, it's disgusting the way they act.
the entire conscientious and civilized population of planet Earth wants to run right to Gaza and right to the West Bank and run into every refugee camp and every poor person and help them. We don't need any government help. We will do it ourselves. We'll buy our own plane tickets. We'll bring our own supplies, and we will rescue the Palestinian people. But no one's allowed in, and no one's allowed out, and we're going to put you guys on a diet. They put the entire 2 million people on a diet.
They
calculated all the calories they need, minimum calories for a day. No chocolate, no cement, no nothing. You guys just sit there, and it will kill you when we want to.
There has to be an immediate, breaking of the fucking blockade in the ocean, right? I mean, they have the coastline completely blocked off, and the United States should be carrying an aircraft carrier right up in there, and we'll see how good a friend Israel really is. You know, the blockade ends now. We're here. We have supplies. We're going to give the Palestinian people, and we'll see how good a friend Israel is to the United States then.
Well, I think Greece actually owns the USS Liberty, and it's now
Is that
a fishing
right?
boat.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
They rehabbed the boat. It's now a fishing boat, a big giant fishing boat. They should run that motherfucker up onto the shore of Gaza with a bunch of supplies, so that the Israelis can blow it up twice.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, last time it was filled with U.S. soldiers, sailors, though, and they murdered a whole bunch of them, knowing that it was a U.S. ship filled with sailors, and they bombed it relentlessly.
63 dead and 154 injured, I'm pretty sure, on USS Liberty, which was just a communication boat monitoring the 1967 war that Israel started between itself and all its neighbors simultaneously. But, once again, they play the victim. Oh, we were attacked. No, you bombed Egypt and a bunch of other countries first. There's a whole history.
No, you bombed the U.S. Liberty knowing full well the U.S. Liberty didn't fucking attack you, and you did it relentlessly. You were they were calling you saying, "Hey, we're the good guys," and you just kept bombing them and bombing them and bombing them because that's what kind of piece of shit government the Israel has. And they are no friend to the United States, so we're fucking clear.
Man. $20 million every day goes to Israel so they can blow
every single fucking day.
Yeah. So the USS Liberty was just monitoring all the communications that was going on, and they bombed them for it because they didn't want. That was our highest tech ship. They didn't want all the news of what was going on getting out, so they bombed the fucking ship. That was an American ship. 63 American sailors dead, 154 injured. When they bomb and bombs, they even shot at the life rafts, at people in the life rafts.
Another war crime.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is what should be done by the U.S., by any fucking country that has a fucking giant aircraft carrier style ship. They should move into Gaza, end the blockade, say the blockade ends now, and see what a good friend Israel is to the rest of the world. French, British, fucking Chinese, fucking USA, any one of them that has the balls, Joe Biden, should do that immediately so we can see exactly what kind of friend Israel is to the United States. Period.
Well, here's a principle that you can relate to, Mike. You live on a limited budget, yet you are able to do all kinds of stuff on less than a quarter of the budget that most of the other people, including myself, live on. Those Palestinians have nothing, yet if they were given some help, they could beat the Israeli industries just because they're so industrious as a people. They're so hardworking, and they so want the opportunities that everyone else has. That's all they want. Is like, give us our land, don't bomb us, let us run some businesses, let us improve our lives. We want better lives. But what do they get? Bombs, bullets,
blockades,
weapons that rip their bodies apart. It's a sin. It's a sin for anyone like Manny to even take the side of a devil country like Israel. It's a sin. Educate, learn. I can't talk enough about it. I'm going to have to go take some lithium or something to calm down.
I don't think that'll help, but yeah. Do what you got to do, man. I would recommend that you rub your feet with oil.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I got fucking 2 gallons of that oil. I'll just drink the whole thing, I'll turn into Jesus, and I'll fly over there and I'll serve the Palestinians myself.
You'll be laughing harder than Manny, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's a tragedy. Let's hope, 70 dead and, 200 injured and a lot of kids dead. It's already bad. It's already bad.
So bad.
It's
so bad.
Human beings.
It was bad before they ever dropped one bomb on them.
Yeah. It's been bad for 75 years.
Anybody want to bet they're bombing the hospitals? Because I can guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't think of any historical precedent that a people could last basically a century under such fucking conditions where everything's getting robbed from them, but they still resist. And it's the Israelis that are the victims. Go figure. The whole world is on its head, and the whole world wants to rush into Gaza and the West Bank and give the Palestinians everything they need to have a decent human life. I would do that. I would give my last dollar those people to have the help they deserve.
If I was president, that aircraft carrier and a couple side-by-side battleships would be breaking that blockade today, and we'd be rolling tanks into Gaza and up to the fucking Israeli border and say, just let these people be.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless Palestine. And Manny is a privileged person who hasn't seen war and hasn't been in a war and doesn't know all the rivers of blood that have been spilled. Innocent women and girls and children and doctors and fathers that lost their families. I've never seen braver people than the Palestinians. Ever, ever. It's a historical situation and it needs to be fixed. So I'll talk to you later, Mike.
Okay, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
Goodbye.
All right, I got to take a quick break. I'm going to play a video about Palestine and what's going on with in Israel and all of that. I think it's appropriate to play that now. I will be right back. I got to heat up my tea.
Worldly today, the fight between Israel and Hamas not slowing down, only heating up. The UN says it could become a, quote, full-scale war. The Palestinian Health Ministry says over 100 people have been killed by Israel's targeted airstrikes in Gaza, including 27 children whom they named today. The youngest was a 2-year-old boy. Casualties have been reported by Israel as well. According to the Times of Israel, a 5-year-old boy was killed by rockets launched from Gaza by Hamas. Hamas is using homemade drones as well. And the violence has unfortunately spread throughout Arab and Jewish towns across Israel that have peacefully coexisted for decades until now. 5 major airlines have canceled flights into Ben Gurion Airport, which is between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Jerusalem is where we find CNN's Hadass Gold.
As Hamas and the Israeli military wage battle in the skies over Israel and Gaza, an alarming level of rage spilling into the streets beyond Jerusalem. Mob violence spreading through mixed Arab and Jewish cities like Lod, Akko, and Bat Yam.
I saw death. Death. Do you know what death is? People jumping at me with stones, throwing stones at me.
Arab citizens attacking a man they think is Jewish. Jewish citizens attacking someone they believe is Arab. The communal violence reaching such a fevered pitch, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu angrily warning rogue vigilantes to stop or face dire consequences.
I do not care at all if your blood is boiling. It's boiling. It's not interesting. You cannot take the law into your own hands. You cannot come and take a simple Arab citizen and try to lynch him. Just as we cannot see Arab citizens doing this to Jewish citizens. This will not stand.
Police getting reinforcements on horseback in riot gear in cities like Lod to quell the unrest. As sirens ring constantly, a warning from above of incoming rocket fire. Follow me. The Iron Dome stopping 90% of the more than 1,800 rockets fired into Israel thus far, according to the Israeli military. With Israeli airstrikes targeting Hamas and Islamic Jihad militants in Gaza, the casualty count rising with each exchange. The displaced in Gaza growing with every building reduced to rubble. The threat in the skies so grave that many Western airlines have canceled flights to Tel Aviv. And on a new front, Hamas releasing a slick propaganda video launching what it says are suicide drones. Drones that Israeli forces say they have shot down. Diplomatic efforts underway overseas, with nations weighing in on the conflict and urging calm. While in Tel Aviv and elsewhere, signs popping up urging peaceful coexistence.
We need to live here together. Coexistence. We need to be together. Partners. To be partners to each other.
But the Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesperson telling CNN,
we don't think this is the right time for a ceasefire.
And Jake, as this conflict intensifies and escalates between Israel and Hamas, especially with the possibility of a ground invasion, there is an equal, perhaps even a more deep-seated concern about this communal violence between Jews and Arabs, the likes of which we have not seen here for decades, and what that could mean for the future of Israeli society. Jake.
All right, Hadass Gold in Jerusalem for us. Thanks so much. Yesterday, we interviewed the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. We are joined now by Columbia professor and co-editor of the Journal of Palestine Studies, Rashid Halidi. He's also the author of the book, The 100 Years War on Palestine. Professor Halidi, thanks for joining us. Let's pick it up with what Hadass was just talking about, the violence, not just in the Gaza Strip, not just from the Hamas missiles. It's spreading all over Israel. And I want to warn viewers that what you're about to see, like so much of what's going on in the region right now, is disturbing. Israeli police say that in Acre, there was a lynching attempt by an Arab mob attacking a Jewish man. In Bat Yam, there's graphic video of a Jewish mob lynching an Arab driver. Jewish and Arab communities have coexisted in these places for decades. Tell us what you think is going on here.
Well, I think that this started really with issues in Jerusalem, whether in Sheikh Jarrah or whether around the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And they go right back to the problems that this whole conflict is rooted in. We're talking about refugees who have lost property in Israel, who are being about to be evicted from their homes in Sheikh Jarrah. That's what really started it. Then the Israeli police, very heavy-handedly, came into the mosque, came into the third holiest mosque in the entirety of Islam with tear gas grenades, with flash grenades, while people were worshiping. And that set things off. And what it set off was the same kinds of issues inside Israel with Palestinians who themselves have been displaced, who themselves have been dispossessed. And it gave Hamas an opportunity to say that they were the defenders of Jerusalem. So it really goes back to issues of dispossession, going right back to 1948, of Palestinians, 750,000 of whom were displaced, and many of whom were living in these houses that extremist settler groups are trying to take over in this Jerusalem suburb. So it goes right back to the roots, back to 1948, back to expulsion, back to dispossession, with Hamas and Israel now engaged in this awful exchange, which of course I think it should be remembered is highly asymmetrical. Look at the casualties, 13 to 1. And that's typical of these kinds of bloodletting, of this kind of bloodletting.
Obviously, literally, volumes have been written about this conflict, but we only have a little time, so I just want to ask you a couple quick questions, if I can. I've heard and seen comments from Palestinians saying they wished that Hamas had not started firing the missiles from Gaza because the focus was on what you were talking about, the 6 families being ejected from East Jerusalem, evicted, although that was going to the Israeli Supreme Court. There hadn't been a final ruling. Do you agree?
I think that the issue is still where it was, even though Hamas has now inserted itself as it has. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, for his own political reasons, I think, is also escalating, as I think he was escalating in Jerusalem. I think we have to go back to the politics that are behind this, in particular for the Israeli government. But I would say perhaps also for Hamas. Both of them are taking advantage of this. But I think you have to go back. Why is the Prime Minister allowing the police to enter the third holiest mosque in Islam with tear gas and flash grenades? And it's inconceivable, except for some political calculation.
Last question for you, sir, which is, you talked about you alluded to the disproportionality of the Israeli military response and the Israeli military power compared to Hamas. And I hear that a lot. What would the appropriate response be to Hamas missiles being fired on civilian centers in Israel?
Well, I would say ending the siege of Gaza. I would say stopping Israel's efforts to keep the Palestinians divided. The Palestinians have deep problems of division. Israel has been assiduously trying to keep them apart, preventing any kind of unification so that they can present a unified front and negotiate, as even Hamas says it's eager to do. Instead, I think Israel is, in some way, I hate to say this, happier to have a disunited Palestinian national movement and a militant Hamas as against a Palestinian movement that's not fighting, and in a situation where these issues of dispossession, refugees, Jerusalem have to finally be addressed. I think our government bears a big share of responsibility for not addressing these issues over the decades when the United States has monopolized the so-called peace process. When I was a negotiator in Washington, we were never allowed to talk about Jerusalem or refugees or anything really important. And I think that's down to the United States.
Columbia University professor Rashid Halidi, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, so I thought that was a pretty good clip. It explained, again, how this all started, right? With first Israelis stealing land from Palestinians, which is something that they do on a regular basis. Evicting people out of homes, saying, no, this is Israeli land. And then the deal at the Alaska Mosque. Again, this person that they were talking about, they were talking to, Tapper was talking to, about he said he has a book called The 100-Year War on Palestine. I don't know if you noticed that. He was saying that the police, the Israeli police, rolled grenades, tear gas, and flashbang grenades into the Al-Aqsa Mosque. He was saying the third most holy site in Islam, which I believe the first two are the Hajj, and there was a site in Fallujah that was supposed to be almost as important as the Hajj, but I'm not sure what's left of Fallujah. So the U.S. destroyed the second most holy site in Islam, from what I understand. Thanks a lot, George Bush, Dick Cheney, Obama, Biden. So, it's not the Palestinians who instigated this. And people love to say, oh, the Israelis have every right to defend themselves. Do the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves? Because their land's being stolen. Their most holy site, one of their most holy sites in Islam, is having tear gas and flashbang grenades rolled into it while people are peacefully praying during Ramadan. Okay? Oh yeah, the Israelis have the right to defend themselves. Do the Palestinian people have the same right? Because they're getting fucked with big time. And again, this was all instigated by Israel, by the leadership in Israel. It's not an accident that they just happened to roll tear gas into one of the most important mosques in the world, third most holy site in Islam, while people are peacefully praying during Ramadan. You think that was a coincidence or an accident? Or do you think Israel, the leadership, Netanyahu, who's about to have to go through another election because people hate him and they don't want to team up with him. Netanyahu, fourth election in 2 years, fifth election in 2 years, something like that. Unheard of before. Netanyahu, what can we do? I know, let's bomb the fuck out of Gaza. How do we make that happen? We have to look like we're the victim. I know, we'll instigate them into hitting us back, and nobody will ever know about the tear gas and the flashbang grenades. We dropped on a bunch of people praying. You hear what I said, Manny? Did you hear what the guy in the interview said? One of the things that I hate about what's being said is that they keep talking about how they're at war with Hamas, right? You got to say it like there's some kind of foreign planet or something. Hamas. They keep saying that they're at war with them. They're striking back at them, but they're not. They're striking back at the Palestinian people. The people in Gaza, struggling to live every single day before this shit ever happened. They hit a pipeline. I showed you the pipeline. It was yesterday or the day before. I showed you the pipeline exploding. They hit a pipeline. That is another war crime. Okay, if you do it intentionally, that's a war crime because people need this to survive. Civilians need this to survive. Okay, and they're just getting hit left and right. They don't have the right to anything. They can't even go fishing to feed their families. They can't get cement into Israel because of the blockade of Gaza, which means nothing in or out, even from the water. And again, if I was president, I would roll up a fucking giant aircraft carrier right through the blockade. I'd say, the blockade ends today. We have supplies for the people of Gaza. And the whole world would cheer. They would say, you know, maybe not the governments, maybe the government go, oh, when did the United States get so anti-Semitic? But the people of the world would cheer. And but the truth is that Israel would immediately attack that our aircraft carrier filled with our sailors, killing lots and lots of them. And why? Because we don't have the right to say anything about the war crimes, about the crimes against humanity that Israel commits on a daily basis. We don't have any right to say anything about that. That's our business. Well, no, if you're going to commit crimes against humanity, actually, that's all of our business. Everyone in the fucking world. The complete humanity. Okay? And for whatever reason, all the humanity around the world, you know, doesn't make a difference for the Palestinian people because our fucked up governments won't stand up. Hello, caller.
Michael, you sexy bearded bastard.
Hey, how's it going, man?
How you doing, G?
I am fine. I am fucking the fuck out of farming, man. I am just like working. It takes so much work to farm, dude. I'm like, oh! But I can do it.
Really?
To farm?
You're struggling that much, huh?
I have.
How much are you growing? How many square acres you got?
I'm growing outdoors, and I started I think 20 plants.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so
all right, that's about what my buddy's got. Maybe I gotta talk to my buddy and get some growing tips. My buddy's been doing this shit. He's been doing it indoors. He's probably got about 20 plants too. But he's been doing it all indoors. He's been doing it for, God, like 10 years now. He got it down to a science.
That's
maybe
awesome.
I'll tell him about, I don't think he knows about your show. Maybe I'll tell him about your show. I'll call in and give you some tips.
Oh, cool. I would love that. I think the viewers would like that too.
Yeah, he's got his fucking weed growing down to a science, bro. I don't know what he's doing. His electric bill is probably like $1,000 a month. But whatever, he's doing very well for himself in terms of the cultivation.
That's awesome. Like I said, one of my goals before I die is to grow really, really pretty flowers. I must do that before I go.
Oh, bro, I gotta send you some pics. Bro.
Cool. So what's going on?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Nothing. I was listening and I don't know what Manny said. Well, Manny was talking about did he call in earlier? I saw he mentioned in the comments that we should repatriate all the Palestinians to Lebanon and Syria and other parts of the world and shit. Did he call in earlier?
Yeah.
What was he saying?
Yeah.
I just tuned in.
Yeah, but I mean, Manny in the past said, you know, if you have people walking through the neighborhood in Mexico, if they're the wrong complexion, you call the police because they don't belong in that neighborhood. So that's who Manny is.
Okay. Well, Manny is allowed to have his shitty opinions, you know, and I'm a free speech advocate, Mike. You know this about me. I say let the people with the shitty opinions speak freely. And then Killer Mike in the chat is like, censor Manny, ban Manny, don't let Manny talk.
I'm a big free speech guy too.
I hate that just as much as I hate people like Manny that fucking try to do that shit. Oh, it's like both of you are fucking cunts. Why can't you just realize that both of you are cunts? Let the shitty people talk. Let the shitty people have their free speech. We've talked about this
for, Michael. You
Yeah.
gotta know who the shitty people with the shitty opinions are, so you can point them out and call them on their bullshit, like we're doing right now.
Yeah, well, I was telling Mike when he called that, some people behind the scenes seem to think that Manny may be a troll and that he just calls to trigger me. So, which he's very good at. He was, did you leave? No, he was saying.
I don't think he is. I don't
Yeah.
think he is a troll. I think he believes what he's saying. I think he's a little disillusioned.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what the discussion behind the scenes is.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
What kind of tasty beverage are you drinking tonight?
Well, Michael, it's a rum mixture. It's got some rum. It's got some pineapple juice. It's got some lemon juice.
Dark rum or light rum?
Going dark, baby. You know I like it dark.
Yeah, dark is.
That Myers, that Jamaican.
Oh, the Myers.
Jamaican.
The Myers is very good.
I like that Myers dark Jamaican.
It
little
goes.
Goslings.
It goes.
Go a little Caribbean with the Goslings.
It goes really well with pineapple juice.
Oh hell yeah! Pineapple, lemon, some blueberry palm. Some blueberry palm, bro. Ooh, I call it the blue ball. I serve it in a highball with blueberry palm. You get it? Blue ball. It's fantastic, delicious. Try it out, people. Give me a shout out. I'll give you my recipe. That's what's up. For my alcoholics out there.
That sounds like very refreshing.
Super refreshing, bro. Absolutely. That's all I got to say, Mike. I don't have much more to contribute. I'll let you continue your program about my dumb ass.
Well, I hope you call back soon.
I will.
Okay.
Free speech.
See you, Pete. That's our buddy Pete from Rhode Island. He usually finishes off with a little more complex goodbye. I'm surprised. So where were we at? Right, fuck Israel. I remember. This thing about the USS Liberty. Michael was talking about the USS Liberty. There's many very, very good documentaries on it. Al Jazeera has an amazing documentary on it. I tried to post it here on the YouTube, but it got taken down. So, and I don't think it was because of Al Jazeera. But it's a really, really interesting story. And again, if I was president, I would be rolling up, or vice president, I would be telling Jackie Cat to roll up a big old aircraft carrier and sit right in front of the blockade and tell them the blockade ends now. And I mean, we would really know what kind of a friend Israel was to America if we did that, because Israel would immediately begin bombing the shit out of that boat, out of that aircraft carrier, killing American sailors. We saw them do it with the USS Liberty. As Michael was saying, it wasn't even like a battleship or kind of an armored ship. It was a listening ship. It was a radio ship. It was there to document what was being said on the transmissions. And Israel didn't like that. Our USS Liberty, as in the United States, our USS Liberty bombed the shit out of by Israel. And they called and said, hey, we're the good guys. Hey, we're the good guys. And they just kept bombing him and bombing him. Horrible story. And that's who Israel is. And that's how much of a friend they are to the United States. And as Michael was also saying, they receive $23 million a day. $40 billion spread out over a 6-year period, I believe. $40 billion. Because Israel doesn't have enough money. Who else gets that kind of taxpayer money? Huh? Who? Is there any country in the world who gets that kind of taxpayer money that maybe we might have something we could do? I know. Let's do something for the children. Let's give the kids free college. Oh, we can't do that. We gave all our money to Israel. I'm sorry. All your money to Israel for no fucking reason whatsoever. They don't need the money. They don't need the money anywhere near as much as your kids do. Not that your kids are going hungry or anything. I'm just saying it would be nice if the people in charge thought a little bit more about your children than they do about Israel, right? Like, yeah, we'd love to give you the $40 billion, but our kids need it more, right? We'd love to give you $40 billion of taxpayer money, but our children need it more. How simple is that to figure out? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. Because Obama, that's the deal Obama signed, $40 billion. How hard is it to figure out that our children, I don't have any children, your children need it more than fucking Israel? Is that really difficult? I mean, if it was your call, would that be difficult for you to decide who needs it more, who needs your money more, Israel or your children? Would that be really difficult decision for you? Because it seems to be an impossible decision for Barack Obama. Of course Israel needs the $40 billion more than your children. What are you, stupid? Joe Biden, of course. He was Vice President Obama. He was Vice President under Obama. Of course Israel needs the $40 billion more than your children. Of course they do. Anybody can see that. Everyone can see that. Poor Israel. They have the right to defend themselves. Right? But not the Palestinian people. That would be wrong. That would make them criminals. Unlike the Israeli government, who, commits war crime after war crime, crime against humanity after crime against humanity. The blockade alone, the blockade on Gaza, is a crime against humanity, and nothing is done about it. Again, first day in office, I'd be in the Pentagon saying, right fucking now, the goddamn blockade ends. I want fucking ships headed there today. Battleships and an aircraft carrier. Let's see what kind of friend to America, to the United States, Israel really is. Because it would be so clear in no uncertain terms. Exactly. And I wonder if everybody would still want to give them the $40 billion instead of your children. How much we all deserve better leadership than this. The world deserves better leadership than this. And I don't just mean the United States. I mean everyone, everywhere. Not everywhere. It seems like a couple of governments around the world, like Iceland, Finland, I think, they have pretty good governments. I think that they really are looking out for the people. From what I understand, electricity is free in Iceland, which it could be here too, and one day it will be, as soon as we get proper leadership. Hello, caller.
Well, I think I'm qualified to be proper leadership, Mike. How about yourself?
I would love to have you as leadership, Brandon.
I know. Yeah, man. Yeah. But you know what? You can't fix other people's messes, man. And then that's the whole thing over there. Like them people got to figure that shit out. Talking about like the whole Middle East, and it's regardless who gets treated as terrorists. Well, it's just that at this point in time, they don't want to like come together as a people and a nation. And there you go.
Right.
Unfortunately.
But we can't allow genocide to happen. I mean, people speak out against that. I mean, if the army isn't there to stop genocide, I don't think they're really worthy of any money at all. Because, that's, I mean, there's just, I don't know. There's just so much bullshit going on, but at the same time,
It's all money, Mike.
it's yeah, of course. At this, and that's what it's all about. You're correct, Brandon. Let me tell you why. Because there's $1 trillion fucking reserve of oil, or natural gas, one or the other, right off the coast of Gaza, and that's what the Israelis are after. Besides, ethnic cleansing, they want that fucking natural gas set up 10 years ago. And that's another reason why they won't let the Palestinians, the Gazans, out into the water, because then they could, that property, that piece of where they want to set up the oil rigs or natural gas, whatever it is, that belongs to the people of Gaza, the Palestinians. And that's why they're not allowing them out of that port, in or out. I was wondering something, Brent. I was hoping you were going to call yesterday.
Yes, sir.
I had some video. I may have asked you this question before, but I have some video of where supposedly Hamas rockets landed in Israel. And you see like a burnt out bus, and you see a couple of cars exploded and stuff. And I'm just wondering if... and this happened at night, right? And I'm just wondering if they could, if it's easy to tell the difference between a drone strike or a rocket coming in, because it looked like way bigger than, the explosion looked way bigger than anything the Palestinians are currently.
Well, that's all. It's all about what type of munitions exploded.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have a 105 rocket, a 155 rocket, or you could have a JDAM.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. I mean, they could put a fairly small missile on a drone and make it look like it was a rocket from the Palestinians, only bigger. You know what I mean? Not just actually do some damage, as opposed to land somewhere and put a little tiny divot in the street.
But you know what, though, to be honest, I don't think they would have to do that because they don't like each other any damn way.
Well, no, Israel has to do that so that Israel can play the victim. Israel has to go, look what's happening to us, just like, I don't know if you heard yesterday, but their so-called Iron Dome failed for like 3 or 4 hours yesterday. And when it failed, a whole bunch of rockets came in. And to me, it seems like a pretty big coincidence that when they need the Iron Dome the most, it fails. And then a bunch of rockets get hit by them. And then they go, oh, we're the victim. Can't the world see? Which, when you need to be the victim, is very convenient that your Iron Dome defense system fails. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, now you know that Netanyahu is trying to get reelected, and it's taking so long because of how the election is so close. Yeah. And I guess apparently he has to form a new government. Now, I don't know if that means that he's still going to be in charge, but apparently he has to form a government that will obviously be more of the, I don't know, like say demographics or whatever, and certain people don't want that. I think all this is tied together. But it is. What baffles me the most, Mike, is that this has been going on in that region that is surrounded by like countries that have meaning Islamic value, and they've all coexisted. If at any point, me personally, if they ever wanted to take Israel out, I think they've had all the access and resources they could, but they don't. So I think that it's just a false narrative of a false threat that's perceived in the West because of our Christianity ties, that it's about, Armageddon and crap like that, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's what Manny was talking about.
Just to me, it just sounds like if they really want to get rid of them, they could. But they don't.
You're saying if the Israelis wanted to get rid of the Palestinians.
Well, no. I'm saying if the Muslim countries wanted to get rid of the Jewish people in Israel, They could have did that a long time ago.
But Israel has nukes, so you know all the other countries. But all the other countries are afraid of them.
Yeah, but listen, what I'm talking about is like, you know what, neighbor, we're tired of you being like just a disruptor in the neighborhood, and we're gonna deal with you. None of them do that.
Well,
and like, but they're the only people in that region that nobody in that region really messes with. I mean, it's more or less like either no one cares, or it's just it's got to be no one cares.
No, they have nukes, Brandon, okay? They have nukes, okay? And they also have nuclear... also have submarines from which they can deliver nuclear weapons. And my opinion is that there's probably one of those nuclear submarines sitting right off the coast of Washington, D.C.
Well, we ain't got nothing to do with that now. I mean, Mike, to be honest with you, I mean, if they want to come and... that's ridiculous. I mean, just my personal, like, that's just, like, doesn't make any sense. What I'm saying, okay, is that their own neighbors don't give a shit, literally, about their Hatfield and McCoy situation between the Palestinians and, the Israeli or Jews or whatever you want to call them. Because you can call them Orthodox Jew, Eurasian Jew, Arab Jew, or whatever, right? No one in that region really, really cares. It's just that it seems to me that Israel is just a pain in the ass, and they're just fucking with people. And the big boys don't really care. Like Jordan's right there, Iran's right there. No one really gives a shit.
Jordan,
like, we got to live with these people, and they're pissing us off. And they're the ones fighting. That's the way I look at this situation.
Jordan has said that they're going to cancel the peace treaty between Israel and them. So they'll probably have something to say real soon.
Well, maybe Israel's spoiled, like where they want to evict people that's been living there but they've always did it, and they've always got away with it.
It's not just eviction. It's a genocide of people. It's a genocide, just like we did to the Native Americans here. Exactly like that.
Well, listen. How many times are we going to hear, and this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, all the poor Indians, all the poor black people, all the poor people from Ireland, all the poor these people, all the poor these people. What I'm saying? Eventually, people get tired of hearing it, and it becomes numb to them. You see what I'm saying? So like with the Jewish population, the Holocaust, all the poor Holocaust, it's becoming numb in America because you got the far right extremists. They don't care about that mess. You know what I'm saying? The blacks don't care about that mess. I mean, or no one cares about your fucking problem at the end of the day is what I'm saying. Period.
A lot of people are very busy. It's like the people are slaves, and they're overworked, and they're underappreciated, and they're just looking for a little something to enjoy, whether it's a television show or a steak or whatever it is, and or a nap. They're just looking for something to enjoy, and it's understandable that they might not be. Because if they're overly concerned with this or that, they might not be able to enjoy their steak or their nap or whatever, So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, it gets taxing to worry about family members, right? Say you got a cousin or a nephew or a family member that they're in a horrible marriage, right?
Yeah.
Or where their son is going to end up. In jail or 6 feet under because of how he's behaving, but yet that relative's father or mother is not really doing anything to prevent it, right? It's taxing. It gets tired. And eventually, you're like, fuck it, I'm out. You know, and I think that this shit over there is so taxing, and it's taxing on us because of half of our voters in this country are about, you know, the Holy Trinity, evangelical, you know, Armageddon.
Half?
Israel is
You think
very
half?
important,
Really?
Blah, 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 blah.
You think half, huh?
I think, I honestly, I think half of the country feels that way.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
insane, man.
Well, yeah. I'm married to one of them. And she's a Democrat. So you ain't got to be a Republican, but that's religion. It's important to people. So, like, when the Republicans say, well, the Democrats don't love Jesus, well, you never met Tanisha, okay? And she's from Detroit, and she loves Jesus. And you can't talk her out of it. And you'll probably learn something from talking to her. That's what I would tell a Republican officer, that the Democrats don't love Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. But anyway. But yeah, man, but it's just, listen, this shit's going to go away. It's just one of those things that it's funny when it's another president in office or another party in office. It's different things that attack them. You know what I'm saying? When it's a Democratic president in there, then it's a big issue with Israel because they don't support, you know, Israel. You know what I'm saying?
Obama gave them $40 billion, dude, of your money.
And they still okay. Yeah.
So and you know what they did after they signed the deal with Israel for $40 billion? They said that Israel was getting cheapskated by Obama, and it's not fair that he's only given them $40 billion. Okay? That's how fucked up the situation is. And it was the Republicans saying that shit mostly. And a lot of news commentators and stuff.
But you know what though?
Yeah.
That $40 billion went straight into the stock market and the shareholders, and it created jobs. You know what I'm saying? So when people say
maybe
don't
not.
create
I
jobs,
seriously doubt that it created as many jobs as if they gave the $40 billion to the people here to create jobs.
Oh yeah. Well, someone's got to make the bombs, and they make them here, and the bullets, and the ammunition, and the uniforms.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah, but
it would be a much better world if they didn't.
Of course it would, but again, that doesn't make money, man.
Yeah, I hear that.
That's why and that's all I'm saying. Like it just doesn't make money if it's not on the stock market. It's like with this infrastructure plan, Mike. If they do an infrastructure plan, you know, the local concrete plant that's not on the stock market is going to get a contract.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no big major corporation, a monopoly on one contract company, you know, that's going to sell contracts to every small town to rebuild the roads and the bridges. So, and that's what it comes down to. You like, whenever they sign that deal, everybody's palms is green. And that's what the politicians have to, that's their whole thing. You know, they're just to navigate and say, hey, these people have an idea. They want to, you know, whatever, would it be infrastructure, cybersecurity? So let's pass the bill so they can get their money. And that's really what it comes down to, man. You know, I don't think a lot of it's personal. I think the politicians make it personal because they're too busy attacking the other people. You know. But yeah. That's it, Mike.
Okay, Brandon. It's always good to hear from you. I hope everybody's doing well where you are.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, we're all good. We're all vaccinated.
Let me know next time you go to the weed store.
I sure will.
Okay,
right,
I want to know what you get next time. Talk to you soon, I hope.
All right, you too.
See ya. And as far as the infrastructure plan goes, all that it's not going to build roads, it's not going to build bridges, it's not going to rebuild anything. It's going to be putting potholes is going to be filling potholes and putting band-aids on bridges, rebuilding bridges and making new roads and building a 21st, if not a 22nd century infrastructure project, which you and I will really never get the benefits of, except for creating millions and millions of good jobs back and forth across the United States. But to build a proper infrastructure, you know, they're talking about, what was it? I don't know. What is it? The infrastructure project, $1 trillion or something. You know, it's going to take $1 trillion a year just to get started on an infrastructure project. So that's probably, you know, somewhere around the budget of the CIA. I know. Let's get rid of the CIA. Then let's see. Oh, the DHSH and the TSA. We don't need those piece of shit organizations. All they do is drain money from your children. Okay? So I say, and the FBI, we don't fucking need the FBI. Why does the FBI need to come in and investigate crimes in the United States? Why? It doesn't make any sense. We already have police. We need a second police force so that they can, what, investigate the police? They never do that. So we don't need an FBI. We don't need a CIA, especially since the CIA is doing so many illegal things around the world. Again, in your name, with your tax dollars, including moving the majority of opium out of Afghanistan. That is one of the CIA's #1 jobs right there. So, you know, gee, I wonder where this epidemic of heroin and opioids came from. Huh? We'll never know. Because the CIA keeps things very quiet. So that being said, I have another video for you. I will play that video for you now. About people not having to wear masks anymore, which I thought is a miracle. It's a summer miracle, right? Who would have ever guessed that by June, before June, that we won't have to wear masks anymore? Who would have ever guessed that? Remember what I told you back in November or December? Is that this will all be over before summer. Do you remember why I said it? It's very simple. Because unless we end all the restrictions on people, Joe Biden's economy will completely collapse. If Joe Biden's economy completely collapses even worse from where it is now, he'll never get reelected. Neither will Kamala Harris. So the COVID has to go away. Just like I said back in November. Or December, one or the other. You can go back and look. All right, so I'm going to play this video for you now about no more mask mandate. Woohoo! It's a Christmas miracle. Don't you think?
Welcome to Primetime. The biggest step toward normal since this pandemic started was taken today. The CDC freed the fully vaccinated from wearing masks. Masks have been recommended since April 3rd of 2020. But no more for almost anywhere a fully vaccinated person wants to go, alone or with others, whether the others are vaccinated or not. Just imagine the simple ability to share a smile, to walk down the street with a cigar in your mouth as I did today, to not rush to cover when you see someone outside, to just be normal. Not that masks were like wearing a suit of armor. Let's be clear. People overhyped it for too long anyway, made it too much of a burden. But it does show. When we do the right thing, we make progress. There are some caveats. There are rules depending on buses and planes. But the biggest caveat is that this change only applies to the vaccinated, the fully vaccinated. So tonight, let's smile, mask-free, at the headline, and then dive into the unanswered questions. Top of the list. What does no masks for the vaccinated mean for the unvaccinated? Well, it means they have to wear masks still. Who's going to know? What about those who have kids in their homes who haven't had the shot? What do? What do the kids do? What will it mean for schools? For businesses? How do businesses, to the original point of who's going to know, how do they police this? if there's no passport system and the federal government says they are reluctant to have a data bank? But before we get into the micro issues, and we will tonight with someone who used to run the CDC, there is a macro issue. There is a curse that comes with this blessing, because isn't how this happened another example of the political game being played that we have to expose and do better than? Just last night, I was chasing the CDC director about making this exact change. Listen. You're playing it too safe. That is the criticism.
We have the clinical trials. We need to make sure that it's working outside the context of those clinical trials. And importantly, we need to make sure that they work against our variants. I'm really looking forward to updating our guidance very soon.
Let's do it right now on this show. What data do you have that suggests you need to go slow before you let people completely unmask and live their lives if they've gotten the vaccine?
Well, you know, we know that data are emerging, have been emerging with regard to the variants. We do want to make sure that those data are going to be out and demonstrate that our vaccines will work. And I'm looking forward to updating our guidance very soon.
Doctor was saying that. I was looking down because I had the list of the studies here, and I said, I don't even know what she's waiting on. And why didn't the CDC director just say it last night? I don't care about if it's said on my show or not. Don't come on the show at all, but say it to the American people. They didn't know that they were going to change it just a few hours later? Did they really burn the midnight oil last night? Or is this just about politics? We know it's not about the science. The science was there for some time. Now, you're going to hear some say this is too much at once, this rule change, this recommendation, and that's all it is. Everybody's going to have to figure out for themselves on the state, local, and private levels. And that it's going to disincentivize people, this move. Listen to this. Because now they can just unmask anyway. Well, people could always cheat. And the CDC head said this wasn't done to get people to get the vaccine. Why not? You know, all of this just reeks of the game to me, and I want you to be aware of the game so that you can ignore it and move to what matters. They've known for months that the vaccine works. Too much too soon. The country's splitting at the seams. The CDC didn't mean this to incentivize. Why not? Look, I don't get bribing people to get the vaccine. And this $1 million deal that's going on in Ohio to get the vaccine, to get people to get vaccinated, is odd to justify to all those taxpayers. But if you choose to get the vaccine, why don't you get the preference that the science suggests? I've been saying this for months. So this is good because it is about the science. I still don't understand why they played so safe for so long. And this is not damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's damned because you didn't until now. Did the hesitancy fuel vaccine hesitancy? The move may get more people to get the vaccine now, but did the delay jeopardize the reality of reaching herd immunity? However, on a night like this, it is important to balance the plus and the minus, and this is indeed a milestone. Think about what a difference 5 months has made. That was when we did the first vaccine. Remember? To the frontline critical care nurse, Sandra Lindsay, here in New York, 5 months ago tomorrow. Remember all the ifs and buts? Now, more than 118 million people in this country are among the fully vaccinated, 34% of the population, about half what we need to get to herd immunity. That's a little scary, right? Half. Look, we're doing better, but that's why you still see the cases in the 40s of thousands. So, there is still a way to go for this country. We still have a way to go for herd immunity. The question becomes, how do you see it? Well, we've come a long way from the days when we were told by our last president that this was all going to go away magically. The White House has now lifted its mask mandate for vaccines.
All right, enough of that twat, right? What I want to say is about this whole thing, the vaccine, the no longer have to wear a mask. Again, it's a Christmas miracle, but that's not the fact. Okay, as I was saying, I walk every day, an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and I have never once worn a mask outside. Just to begin from that place. That being said, and they're talking about being able to shake hands with people or even give a hug to someone. As I've said numerous times, every time my UPS driver, Jay, drives past me and the dogs when we're out walking, he stops, he never has a package. Sometimes we walk up to him, he's delivering a package, but he stops, gets out of the truck, gives me a hug, and asks me how I'm doing and how the dogs are doing. Great guy. But he's never wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask. He never asked me if I was vaccinated or not. It's and neither one of us apparently cares. I'm pretty sure he's been vaccinated because he's traveled to Hawaii. Just the other day I was talking about he went to Kauai. So I'm pretty sure he's got vaccinated. But that's not the point. The point is this thing where they're saying outdoors. Also, they're talking a lot about this passport now. So this thing where they're saying, oh, you cannot have to wear a mask. Like, well, how do you prove that you're vaccinated, right? I want to prove that I'm vaccinated. Everyone wants to prove that they're vaccinated. Well, you're going to have to get this passport on your phone then. Because the people that are vaccinated are the good Americans, and they want to make sure everyone knows. And that's what I'm trying to talk about now, is that the reason for this talking about the mandate being lifted, and in the title it says, for fully vaccinated people, they're creating now with this, fully vaccinated people can now do this. So they're creating this whole kind of, secondary, there's the people who can, do what they want, and then there's people who can't, hierarchy, it's like these people, a second-class citizen. They're creating a whole new second-class citizen, right? Like being poor wasn't enough to be a second-class citizen. Now, you're going to be, I don't own a cell phone. I've never owned a cell phone. So, a vaccine passport is not an option for me because it's something that's going to be on your phone. That being said, they're creating a whole new class of second-class citizens. And it's just not right. It's kind of like blackmail, because you don't want to be a second-class citizen. I mean, I don't really care how people look at me. It doesn't matter. Everybody, not everybody, but lots of people like to judge, and they tend to judge negatively. So I don't really care. I've gotten over it. At the same time, I think it's just going to get worse, because the good Americans are the ones that are going to be vaccinated, and the other ones are going to be not so good. Hello, caller.
Yo, Mike, it's your boy Pete. I'm back again. I want to jump in on this conversation here. I'm really concerned about exactly the same thing you're talking about right now. Is like, to what degree is the proof of vaccination thing going to become an issue?
Right.
I hope we're just being dramatic, and I think we probably are.
I hope so too. I hope so too, Pete.
But I mean, is it going to get? I mean, it's already with passports going to other countries. I mean, it's always been like that.
Yeah.
You got to get weird vaccines when you go to other countries. But is it going to get? Is it going to get to the point where if you want to go see a concert, you have to show your proof of vaccination?
Right.
Fucking documentation. That's the shit that fucks me up.
Gonna be a QR code on your phone, and they scan it, and you're in, buddy. I don't have a phone.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think if the government tries to make that shit happen, there's gonna be. I mean, we thought the BLM protests were bad. Hopefully, this will be the new protest movement, because this is fucking bullshit. We're not fucking China. We're not these fucking communist countries. Like, we should not fucking tolerate this shit at all in this fucking country. And people, like you said earlier, people like to say, well, you don't care about other people. You don't care about other people's health if you're not getting vaccinated. It's like, bitch, that's what the fucking vaccine is for. If you're so concerned about it, then you're vaccinated? All right, then what the fuck do you care if I'm fucking vaccinated?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I hear
It
you.
makes me sick, these people.
I am bothered by it too. Like every time I go to the doctor's like, "You want the vaccine?" They called me on the phone the other day. I told them like 5 times I don't want the fucking vaccine. They called me on the phone and said, "Hey, there's many spots available. We'd love to get you the vaccine." I've already told you people. I went to see the neurologist last week or this week, and I told him, I said, I don't want any other medicine. I don't want to talk about any other medicine. I'm taking the medicine you told me to take, and I don't want any other medicine. He looked at me and was like, okay, I don't need to see you for another 6 months. I'm like, yay!
Yeah, if you don't trust the medical industrial complex, you must be a fucking crazy person, right? Oh my God, it's disgusting. Especially, these vaccines, by the way, they're very new, and we don't have a lot of long-term data on these things. So, and look, people that were skeptical about the vaccine initially, look what happened with the J&J vaccine. They had blood clotting issues, and people were fucking dying. So there's a reason to be skeptical. We don't have any fucking long-term data, okay? So let people be fucking skeptical, and let's not, call them fucking crazy.
Everybody's gonna be judged now. It's like, oh, that guy's got a mask on. He must be, he must have the vaccine still, or not have had the vaccine. Or there's a crazy person who's been vaccinated. You ever see the people riding around in their car, like one person in their car, and they're wearing a mask? That always, like, what is wrong with that person?
Yeah, I see people walking down the street with masks on. It pisses me off. But I'm telling you, if I have to show a fucking card to someone to go into a fucking grocery store or something, I'm gonna go Guy Fawkes on these motherfuckers. Like, for real. This is not fucking cool, bro. I don't like the whole narrative that the media is trying to push right now, where they're trying to just push the whole shit. Like, if you don't get vaccinated, you're fucking crazy. Like,
you're not a good American. You're not a good American.
It's bullshit. Look, if you have a shitty immune system and you're not healthy and you're fucking old and whatever, you get the fucking vaccine. Don't fucking try to fucking push your shit on me. I'm a young, healthy, I'm 34 years old. I got no health problems, like no medication. I'm a healthy young buck, baby. I don't need your fucking shitty vaccine. All right? It's called an immune system, cocksuckers. All right? And I don't need your fucking shitty bullshit. All right? I'm going to fight it off my own. I never got a flu shot my whole fucking life.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing on me now at the doctor. Like, oh, we have a flu shot ready for you. I highly recommend you get the flu shot. I don't fucking want any other medicine than what I have to take, and I don't have to take that. So, thank you very much. No.
Fuck them. If you have like serious health issues, or if you're immunocompromised, if you're really, really, really old, yeah, okay, whatever. That's fine. I get it. Like, my parents got the vaccine. My dad at first was like, no, I'm not getting that fucking vaccine. Fuck that. But he's like 70 now. So he's like, maybe I should fucking get it. And like, whatever. You're old. I get it. But it's like, if you're like me, who fuck you. Don't tell me what to fucking do. Yeah. Don't tell me what to fucking do with my fucking body, bitch.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. And now I'm going to have to, the media, what it sounds like, right now in the media, I'm gonna have to show a fucking card to go to a concert, to go
to the grocery store.
Go fuck yourself, dude.
We've been talking about this for a long time. This passport thing, and for months and months. Months and months ago, we were talking about this. I really think it's going to become the standard. It seems like they're dying to do it. It's just like they're kind of afraid of implementing it, because it's like what you're saying is that there's going to be this.
They definitely want to so bad. You can tell by all these media cunts how they talk.
Yeah.
They so want to shove it down our throats, but I don't think it's going to happen, dude. It's just, it's so egregious. It's just, and it's not necessary. Like I said, young people don't need to get fucking vaccinated. We got healthy immune systems. Go fuck yourself.
Well,
if you have shitty health and you get the fucking vaccine, don't worry about me. Fuck you.
Hey, look, it's America, okay? No one's required to do this, okay? So, if you feel like, again, like Pete's saying, that you need it, then you should go and get it. If you want to protect the people around you and you think this will do it, then you should go and get it. if for any reason you think that you should go and do it, go and do it. You know, that's what America is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just worried that the freedom may be taken away from us, Mike. You know, I don't want to get these goofy ass vaccines.
Well, the freedom is taken
Fuck
away
that.
from us
And it's
every
new.
day.
It's a new vaccine. Like I said, it's a new vaccine. There's no long-term data. Let's not forget. I never forgot this famous vaccine case that happened in Texas, where this was like in 2006 or whatever, where Rick Perry, that jackass motherfucker. He was the governor of Texas. I can't remember when this was like late. This was like Bush era. He was the governor of Texas. He mandated that young girls had to get vaccinated for HPV. Yeah, there was a new HPV vaccine that came out, and a lot of young girls had serious health problems from that vaccine that was not thoroughly tested. I don't know, maybe it fell through the FDA's cracks or whatever. But you know.
And who the fuck is that piece of shit mandating that little girls have to be vaccinated? That's a load of garbage, and he should go to prison for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly right. And they wonder where this vaccine skepticism comes from. And that's just one case out of many, bro.
Yeah.
You know. So
I hear you.
Fuck that. And I know you're not a big Joe Rogan fan, but that's exactly what Joe Rogan said. He's like, look, if you're a young person,
yeah, I know what he said.
With a healthy immune system, don't worry about it.
I know what he said.
You'll be fine. And he just said everything I pretty much just said. So yeah. So if they mandate this shit, it's gonna be. There's going to be fucking blood in the streets, bro. I'm telling you.
They're not going to mandate it. They're going to create a whole second-class citizen by saying, you know, you have to prove that you've been vaccinated.
Right.
Otherwise,
you pretty much can't do anything fun
yeah.
unless you show. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
that's bullshit, man.
It's a threat that I think maybe, like you're saying, isn't going to happen. It's kind of like the last push before we open everything up and make we're gonna have to figure out how to prove that you have the vaccine, so you might as well get it now. You know what I mean? It's just last ditch effort to get as many people as they can to sign up. Is what it looks like, sounds like to me. But as I've been saying all along, it is a very looming threat. And that's how you kind of coax people along with the fucking looming threat.
You can tell. I mean, these CDC motherfuckers, these politicians, these government people, they're like foaming at the mouth to get everyone vaccinated. And they don't give a fuck about...
It's so strange,
They
man.
don't give a fuck about anyone's freedom of fucking choice, dude.
It's so strange.
You know, they think everyone that doesn't want to get vaccinated is some retard, like, fucking kook, like, you know, like... Oh, it just irritates me, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to freedom of fucking choice?
Yeah. Well, you still have it. You still have it. It's just they're creating a second-class citizen. They're saying, oh, those are the bad people and these are the good people. You know, and they've been pushing that. That's been the narrative they've been pushing all along. You know, not that it's like no one should. No, anyone who chooses other than to protect the people around them. That's also the way they sell it. By if you're not protecting the people around you, what kind of shitty person are you? Again, coming back to what I'm saying about parents in Israel, what kind of shitty person keeps their children in what they say is harm's way? We could be attacked at any minute. What kind of shitty person does that? Oh, we got to get vaccinated to protect those around us. Well, let's just move to a fucking war zone and then it won't matter because they're going to drop a bomb on us anytime. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. You just brought up Israel. So that just totally distracted me because I haven't wanted to talk about that before. But Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, fucking A. I mean, why did the UN send them to this little state surrounded by... Arabs and people that don't agree with their religious opinions? I mean, it just was bound to not work out, wasn't it?
I think that was part of the plan.
Yeah, it was. Exactly. They should have picked a different state. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I get they want to be close to the Holy Land and all, but... And really, they should be able to just work it out. But, the Jewish people are by far the aggressors. I mean, look at the history. Look at the fucking history. Man?
Like you said...
Read some Noam Chomsky books. The Israelis are the most aggressive, violent fucking people. They are not, they're not to be looked at like they're some peaceful innocent Beckham people as some might say. At least the government anyway. I shouldn't say the Israelis in general, but the Israeli government has done some fucked up shit, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Some real fucked up shit.
I agree.
Multiple human rights violations that just get overlooked over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's fucked up, and I don't know why we support them. It's not right. The only reason that they are able to do what they do in that part of the world is because they have so much funding from the U.S. And I don't know why. Most Americans, no American knows anything about Middle Eastern politics. Most of us don't know shit, and quite frankly, we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to know shit about Middle Eastern politics, but we do because we put so much funding into Israel, and quite frankly, it's fucking nonsense. We should be focused on our own continent and our own shit, and not have to worry about all Sunni and Shia. Like, why? I shouldn't have to fucking know about this. I don't live over there. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not religious. Why should I have to care about this? You know why I have to care about it? Because we send fucking millions and millions of dollars to Israel. That's why I need, or at least that's why the media tells me I need to care about it. But I really don't.
Well,
and if more Americans know about this, we'd be like, what are we doing over there? But it's all about hegemony. It's all about the military-industrial complex,
right.
and us conquering the world.
It's about,
or at least our military or our government.
Well, it's about destabilizing that region so that they can sell more and more weapons. Because war is going on everywhere.
So our government can make money,
right?
And not give it to us. Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is what it's been about the entire time. That's why. That's what you were asking about, why they moved them in there. I'm pretty sure that's why they moved them in there, to destabilize the entire region, and in order to make lots and lots of money.
Yeah, you're right. If we destabilize them, then we can impose our power. That's what we did in Iraq.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what we tried to do didn't work out so well.
Well, it's a matter of, like, Trump sold $400 billion of weapons to Saudi Arabia recently. That's what's been going on forever. And in that region, we've sold so much fucking weapons to Egypt, so much fucking weapons to Pakistan. It's just it's a golden market for us. So
and they fall into the hands of the people that we're supposed to be fighting. That's the ironic thing, isn't it?
I think we tend to arm that. We arm that side too, as long as they have money to buy weapons. It doesn't really matter which side they're on.
Yeah, exactly. And another convenient benefit, it gives us an excuse to continue to perpetuate our horseshit wars and sell more arms, and and it's bullshit, man. And the Saudis, by the way, are like the worst. They're maybe the worst regime. Like, we're talking about, like, slavery. Like, those people are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you ever see Game of Thrones? Like, that's pretty much what Saudi Arabia is. It's like literally Game of Thrones level, like, prostitution, like, sexual slavery, like, real fucked up shit going on over there, man. I'm telling you, it's fucked up. And that's like our major Middle East ally. It's so fucked, man. It makes me sick. It makes me sick as an American, man. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I say we pull it all out, focus on our continent. If we need oil so bad, we can get it from fucking Alaska and Canada, who was our allies. Fuck all this shit. We're just trying to conquer the world, man. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. And a lot of it's about supporting Israel, and fuck them. Because they don't give a fuck about us. Shout out Tupac. They don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about us at all.
I have to agree. They, like I said, if I was president, I'd be rolling up a aircraft carrier and say the blockade of Gaza ends today. And it's not so much because it would end today, but because I want to show the entire world what kind of friend Israel is, right? Because we're simply trying to make a humanitarian effort by ending this illegal, crime against humanity, thing that's going on, the blockade of Gaza. That's what we would be trying to do. And meanwhile, there is no doubt in my mind that Israel would blow the shit out of that aircraft carrier as much as they could. And as, and again, that
and blame it on somebody else.
Right.
Blame it on Hamas or something.
Right. It was fucking Gaza. It's the Palestinians that did it.
Yeah, the Palestinians who were fucking struggling to feed their children. They did it.
Yeah, so that's and the main purpose would be to show the world what kind of friend Israel is. To show a genuine fucking war crime, a crime against humanity. So I don't know how I don't know if the media ignored the USS Liberty and what Israel did to that. I don't know if it did back in 1967. Or 68, I think it happened in 67. I don't know how they responded to that, but I'm quite sure that it would be responded to differently today. Because, we're all about our military and all that shit. Not that we weren't back then, that was Vietnam, so. I don't know, man. I just am tired of this shit. I'm tired of the downtrodden being fucking bombed the shit out of. That's just not right.
Yeah, man. And then the downtrodden in our country have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Bullshit. All right, buddy. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, Peace. Good to hear from you always.
You as well, buddy. Peace and love.
All right. That's our buddy Pete from Rhode Island. Is that his second call? I think so. I think we were talking about his beverage, his tasty beverage this evening. Woohoo, that is a tasty beverage. Let's see. I have one video left of Dr. Sanjay Gupta, Pill Shill Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I used to refer to him as, until he started making his cannabis documentaries. But Pill Shill Dr. Sanjay Gupta is in this clip, it's a very short clip, explains that there has never been a documented case of people outside contracting the coronavirus. Not my words, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, top medical advisor or analyst or, whatever, to CNN, and Obama's first choice to be Surgeon General of the United States. Pill Shill Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Here you go.
Why did they decide to do this now, given that we're not at that level of protection? And by the way, where I am in Georgia versus where you are in D.C. versus Boston, these are all different communities in terms of how much protection there is out there. So you're absolutely right. I mean, the science is clear. It's all going to be about the implementation now and how these private organizations basically decide to deal with that. The one thing I will say that came out of this that's maybe a little bit less of the headline is just about outside, which you and I have talked about, but I think it's very clear that you don't need to wear a mask outside regardless of your vaccination status, and that's because a year into this now, we know that outdoor transmission, we didn't know this in the beginning, but outdoor transmission is very, very unlikely. In fact, it's not clear that there's even been documented cases of outdoor transmission. So that's good, no masks outside, period, but I think it's going to be these indoor settings, which, the implementation is going to be the absolute key.
Yeah. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So again, I find it very interesting that after how long has it been? A year that we have to wear a mask everywhere outdoors. We find out that there's never been a documented case of people contracting coronavirus from other people outdoors. This is Sanjay Gupta's, the top medical advisor for CNN, Obama's first choice to be the Surgeon General of the United States. This is what he's saying, not my words. So, for a year now, they've been giving us shit advice about what we could do outdoors and what we couldn't. Again, I walk every single day for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I've never worn a mask outside, not one time. So what I'm telling you is he gives this shit advice, or the whole community has given us this shit advice where no documented case of people outdoors, right? So I see little children out, high school children, junior high, out on the soccer field and like in uniforms and such. They're not just playing randomly. In a uniform, you know, this side against that side, and they have masks on. Everybody has a mask on. He just said, I don't know, did he say children are very unlikely to get it? I think he might have said that. I heard that in his conversation earlier. I don't know if it was in that clip. But no documented case. So there's kids are running around with masks on, right? And there's no documented case of anyone ever contracting the disease outdoors. So I find that not right, you know. And if I was a parent, which I'm not, and I'm really glad that I'm not, I would be a lot more concerned about, you know, these people that are giving advice, because they don't seem quite correct on a lot of things. And they seem to be very willing to mislead you, which is really the unfortunate part. As Dr. Sanjay Gupta, pill shill Dr. Sanjay Gupta, had done about cannabis for 10 years, 15 years, until he actually came on CNN and apologized for misleading the American people for the last decade about whether or not cannabis had medicinal qualities. Okay, so it's not like these people haven't misled us before, and he actually had to make an apology for doing that, because, I don't know, he's probably getting 1,000, 2,000 emails a day telling him that he's full of shit, so why should we ever take any advice from him, because he's been lying about this forever. So he had to apologize, otherwise he have no credibility whatsoever. Although, in my opinion, once someone of authority, expert, tells you something that's not true, you know, trying to mislead you, in my opinion, that should make it so that he no longer has any credibility, right? No longer has any credibility. So when all these people, like I said, the CDC, the American Medical Association, for the last 70 years has been telling us that cannabis has zero medicinal qualities, they've been misleading us purposefully so they can sell their pills. That's why Dr. Sanjay Gupta did it. I'm sorry, pill shill Dr. Sanjay Gupta did it for a decade before he had to apologize. Because cannabis is actually a medicine that works when lots and lots and lots of the pills do not. And in fact, his first cannabis documentary was about a little girl that was having 100 seizures a day or something like that. And they took every medicine they could, and it was just zombifying the little girl. She was just fucking out of it. Like, you know, just eyes back in the head all day long, and having all these seizures and taking all this medication, and they tried cannabis, and her seizures pretty much went away, and that's what has been kept from the good people of this planet for generations and generations by the American Medical Association, by the CDC, lying to us about something anyone and everyone should know, that cannabis does have medicinal qualities, that cannabis has been used for 1,000 generations, meaning 20,000 years, for 1,000 generations before us, as medicine. There's no way they couldn't know that when they lied to us about it. There's no way. Okay, so, and they lied to us, keeping good medicine from little children, old people, everyone who needs it desperately, so that they could sell more pills. They could sell so many more pills and make so much more money, which I keep saying is the real problem with the for-profit medical industrial complex. The real problem with them is that they have an alternative motive. They can't make money without sick people. So I'm all out of videos. I'm play the bright side for you. In case anybody wants to call, this will give you just a minute to do so. Otherwise, well, wait a sec. I'm going to play the white privilege card because I really enjoy playing the white privilege card. You guys know this. I will do it again and again and again as long as I can.
Trump won the election. Among the suspects' possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free, with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, you know, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he could get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply following the advice and the commentary of the President of the United States. So tonight, the acting chief of the Capitol Police proposing security fencing erected around the Capitol in the wake of the deadly insurrection stay up permanently. Also, police say a man arrested near the Capitol was armed with a gun and 20 rounds of ammunition, and a list of lawmakers' names. The House Speaker Nancy Pelosi responding to concerns about security by members of Congress, saying the enemy is within the House of Representatives. With all this, President Biden pushing for bipartisan support to pass his massive, nearly $2 trillion COVID relief plan. Let's get right to it. CNN's White House correspondent is John Harwood, and our senior political analyst is John Avalon. How will we distinguish? I guess I'll have to say last names. Good evening to both of you. Mr. Harwood, President Biden trying to restore access to health care, pushing hard behind the scenes to get a COVID relief package through on the heels of dismal economic news. Where do negotiations stand tonight?
Well, they've got a ways to go. There's a lot of details that are going to get changed, and it's unclear what the composition of the final coalition behind the legislation will be. But one thing that both the Biden White House, Democrats in Congress, their outside allies are increasingly confident of is that they're going to get a very large bill. If not precisely Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion, something close to that. And that potentially has a huge impact on the country and on the Biden presidency. It will speed the end of the pandemic with the funds for vaccines and testing and all the steps needed to try to get the pandemic under control. It will sustain people who are hurting, who are jobless through the next few months while we get to the end. And it will lift the overall economy. Economists tell me, Don, that passing of this bill or something close to this bill will take the 4% growth we expect for this year and turn it into 6% growth. That it will restore the U.S. economy to full employment by the end of 2022 instead of 2023. That is a tremendous upside for Joe Biden and for Democrats as they look ahead to 2022 midterm elections in which their majorities are going to be threatened.
So, Mr. Avalon, you next. So we're living in 2 different universes, right? The Biden team.
Shit, sorry, I didn't mean to play it that long. I never play it that long. Those guys are douchebags. You don't need to see what they're saying. I just like playing the white privilege card. Sorry, I spaced out there for a second. Okay, so no one called during that. I have one video left, which is Brightside, which is going to give you about 2 minutes to call. So if you want to call, now is the time to do it, people. Otherwise, I have farming to do. And it's teethy brushing day. You love brushing your teethies, huh, boo-boo? It's his favorite. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play the bright side. This will be your last chance to call, people. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be right back.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am? You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
There's my Boo Bear. You're my beautiful baby, Boo Boo. Okay, so I came to play topical videos and take phone calls and have a conversation with people and take fat dabs. And I am all out of news clips. And I don't have any callers, and I have farming to do. So, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow. Same Mox time, same Mox channel. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together.